So I just finished watching Yu Yu Hakusho live action on Netflix, and let me tell you, it was a short ride, but they honestly exceeded my expectations for what this show was going to be. I thoroughly enjoyed what I watched and what they decided to do with this story and this beloved anime that I watched growing up. Now, this won't be a review per se, as I don't think I want to do that just for 5 episodes, but I at least want to show it some love and talk about how currently I feel like this one has just as much potential as the live action One Piece series that we just got this year. Now, this wasn't a one-for-one adaptation like most people probably hoped, myself included, when they first announced a Yu Yu Hakusho live action adaptation. And I feel like this one might get a lot of hate for not being one-for-one, but I genuinely think this show is good and has a bright future as one of the better live action adaptations. And I know we're all living in constant fear that we'll get another Dragon Ball Evolution or even a Full Metal Alchemist quality show, but I don't think they're gonna mess this one up for us, or at least I hope so. Now, I'm gonna address something right away here because it's the main topic of discussion around the Yu Yu Hakusho release, but there's a lot of cut content from this show, like at least 100 or so episodes of content probably. These 5 episodes essentially jump us right into the final fight with the Toguro brothers, essentially cutting out all side arcs leading into the Dark Tournament and the actual tournament itself entirely. And at first, this kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but then my brain was like, wait, this could be good for the future of this show if they continue it. By cutting down on what is literally 60% of what the actual anime was, which is just the lead up to the Dark Tournament for most people, in my head, we have the potential for an even tighter introduction to the demon world, and later, possibly a higher budget adaptation for the rest of the series as a whole. By downsizing for now and keeping the live action grounded to this high school delinquent beat-em-up show, and giving us the unrealistic final boss within these 5 episodes with pretty decent CG, we have room for later possible seasons to go crazy in scale and be closer to what we know Yu Yu Hakusho is. And I'm asking everyone to really follow me here, but out the gate, I don't feel as though Yu Yu had the same hype train as, say, One Piece did in name alone. So how do you hook people who don't know or possibly even heard of Yu Yu Hakusho in the first place? You throw them right into what makes the world so great, and you skip all the BS. You show them that this series has potential for sick fights, with amazing choreography, and possibly for amazing world building when it has time to breathe now, so that later with hopefully more budget, you get the opportunity to expand on that lore, do even bigger moments. I think this move was ultimately the smart one because it's got a lot of people looking at not just the live action show for what it is, but also going back to the original to check out the anime and possibly read the manga for those 100 or so episodes or chapters that was condensed here, which was honestly such a big brained move. For me personally, I feel like if we got an adaptation of the arcs before the Dark Tournament, but with the same amount of episodes, I don't think it would have hit the same or been as grand, because the enemies in those arcs really aren't too crazy to begin with, like Toguro was. And using Toguro as a sonic jump spring into what Yu Yu can be in later what I think are actual better arcs of the show is brilliant. My hope for this live action series is that now that we have new eyes on it and possibly a bigger budget next season, if the show is done well enough, is that we get more, but with a twist and an expansion on the original story. They're obviously doing their own take on events already, so take the outline that we already have and expand upon it in a way that's both exciting to watch for old fans and new. And truly, I think the chapter Black Arc could possibly be the opportunity to do this, by delving further into the more complex parts of what made Sensui such a great villain, but also expanding on the Demon World stuff and maybe even dropping suggestions about Yusuke and the gang's future. This could possibly be one of the coolest live-action anime adaptations ever. Just think about how they could handle the chapter Black Tape, and possibly play into the detective parts of Yu Yu Hakusho as they tackle the darker themes this arc introduced. having to do with the evil of men. Plus, with a slightly more grounded take on the series, we could get some really cool, almost Hannibal-esque moments as we see the group deal with these enemies that are psychologically pushing them and making them question their morals and what they're doing. I feel as though the way they handled this first part leaves just enough room for them to experiment here. And I know what you're thinking, why change what already works? Well, let me answer with a question to you and say, why do you want to watch the exact same thing again? If they were going to significantly change any anime adaptation, I feel like this is the one to do it with, so they can show us what can be done in other mediums, and show us that anime can thrive in live action too. And I know what you're thinking, but Cowboy Bebop tried it and it sucked. And to you thinking such silly things, I say hush. Because Cowboy Bebop wasn't terrible, it just set itself up to take the story past the anime, and I feel like all the weebs just didn't give it a fair chance, under the guise of it being its own thing. I think in general too, and especially with Yu Yu Hakusho, everyone just needs to give it a chance to reach its full potential. And if and when we get to see the full scope of what maybe it looks like, say 2 to 3 seasons in, then we can judge it. Honestly, we probably would have gotten more episodes out the gate and more fleshing out of the actual story if it wasn't such a normal thing for people to start trashing on a show right out the gate when it's only got 1 season under its belt. And we don't get to see what the story can possibly do and where the production can go with more time and money to literally just sit and cook. And I really hope the Yu Yu team gets to do just that, because genuinely I love the casting and their portrayals of my favorite characters and what they've done with this story so far. And the potential of this show with more seasons gets me excited because they really had some cool moments here. Those are just my thoughts about Yu Yu Hakusho Netflix though. Maybe if we actually get a season 2, I'll go ahead and do a formal review of the show so far, but we shall see. If you enjoyed something about season 1 so far though, what has it been? And what do you think they could do to take the story in a different direction that everyone would possibly like? Comment below letting me know what you think. Also, the background music that's been playing is from Purrfect Vibes. It's a royalty-free playlist made by TheBlackHokage, and it's got some great tracks I like to keep in rotation myself when I'm researching stuff or even just chilling. If you like what you heard, please visit the link in the description below to check it out and show some love, so hopefully we can get some more beats in the future to vibe to. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and let me know, and subscribe for more anime and video game discussions in the future. Until next time.